hopefully. Hey, everybody. Happy Saturday.
Oh, happy Saturday.
Yeah, we don't normally do the Saturday thing. I'm hoping that we're going to come in live and clear tonight. We've got some thunderstorms kind of overhead, and that typically doesn't bode well for live streams. But I guess we'll just have to figure it out as we go. But anyway, certainly happy Friday to everybody.
Happy Saturday.
It's Saturday. See, I couldn't even keep it up for 12 seconds, right? Anyway, let's get some hellos in real quick here. Let me just get to the top here. Farm Ranch Homestead was the first one in. Welcome. The beautiful Louise Wesley is in the house. Greatest name on the internet.
Half of Laughlin
is in the house. Harry Kent Hempworth, how are you, my friend? Skanes Girl, hello. Silver Lining, how are you? Nitos, how are you? Let's see here. Carrie Davis, welcome from Hot, Arkansas. What else we got here? Nostradamus, good evening. Welcome to you. City Greens, welcome in. It has been a good Saturday, a little bit busy for us, but it was good. Jean Menke, hello and welcome. I've gotten that right like
ever since she said you did it, you just boop right through your memory.
Terminator, how are you this beautiful evening? RN, welcome from Central Alabama. Karen, how are you from Central Minnesota? I actually had some conversations with some people up in Minnesota this week. Vicky Poland says, hello, fellow Freesteaders. Happy Father's Day Eve. That's right. Father's Day is tomorrow, isn't it?
Yep.
That's right. Starla Doak, how are you? I hope everything's well with you. Hilltop Home Place, hello. One step closer. How are you? I was actually thinking about you today, wondering how your journey's going. Indiana Mike, how are you, my friend?
Oh,
yep, long time no see. Mossy Oak Parrot, even though I really want to read that Patriot. I don't know why, but I really do.
Because I think you used to.
Yep. Like Life with Mike and Jen is in the house. Says just got off the river, rode the Chalupa to a new part that we had never been to.
Oh yeah, the Chalupa.
Yep, pretty cool. That thing's crazy. Yep. Tambra, how are you? Good evening. Midwest Ribeye, good evening. I think I said hello to Karen, but if I didn't, Karen, good evening to you. All right, I think we're caught up for now. Oh, nope, there's Redneck. How are you?
Bam.
Yeah, long time no talk to. Yeah, I know, right? It's good. So today I want to let you guys know is me and Bethany's wedding anniversary. And we got up this morning and what our plans were, they didn't quite work out that way, but we decided what we were going to do for our anniversary is we were going to get up and go to the farmer's market.
Yeah.
Right. And then we were going to make a quick stop off at Home Depot because I needed some rebar ties. And then we were going to go stop at a couple nurseries and let B, immerse herself in plants and, bring a carload of plants home for her to continue on her journey. Mm-hmm. Didn't quite work out quite that way.
No. But now I'm like, why didn't I get bushes to plant up here?
I tried.
I
tried to push you.
I know.
And you put this wall up.
No, because I was concentrating on what I had down there, and then pod 4 is like right on my shoulder, and I'm just like, I need to get to that.
Yeah, but how often do you get to town? I mean,
I know, and like there was a 50% off sale.
Yeah.
Although the trees were like, here's $120 tree.
Right.
For 50% off.
Yeah. Hey, ACM Homestead's in the house, and thank you for the happy anniversary. But this is what really happened. So I told you guys what we were going to do. We got up in a rainstorm, and it was pouring rain, and B drug her feet. And just kind of drug it until we weren't going to make the farmer's market because around here it closes at noon. And by the time we got there, we weren't going to make it. Hey, welcome, Stan Gunther. So that didn't work out. So we went to town and we went to Baumgard's, right? And B walked around Baumgard's for a little bit. Really didn't buy a lot, but walked around.
They were having a grand opening special or sale.
Mm-hmm.
So we bought some like bar oil, chainsaw bar oil.
Yeah. So then we went to Home Depot and I did get my rebar ties like I needed. And then we met my oldest son and my granddaughter at Red Robin, and we had lunch. Yep. And then we went to the first of 2 planned stops at a nursery, right?
Yes.
Are we up to speed so far?
Yes.
Okay. So then we get into the nursery and I'm like, what is going on? Like I'm having to push B to get plants. I'm like, go look at this, go look at this, go look at this. Because, I have this husband mentality of, taking care of my wife. We're going to talk a lot tonight about relationships and about marriage and about those things. But I had this thing in me about, hey, it's our anniversary. And so like I went down there with thinking that B was going to spend a good chunk of money. Yeah. And I was okay with it. I was like, this is Jeep up. Yeah, this is what we're going to do. And we're going to buy, some almond trees and some pecan trees and this and some that. We were driving
the Jeep.
It would have been fine. How was did you bring the Jeep back full?
No.
Zip it.
No.
Jeep.
No.
Okay.
I spent like $17.
Yeah. Okay. So, and I'm just like totally having to push it, which is not normal. Normally B would be immersed in all the plants and all that, but it just seemed like it wasn't the day for that.
It just, yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah.
So we get out of the first scheduled stop, and she, like she said, she spent like $17. She bought some. What'd you buy?
I bought 3 eucalyptus plants.
Yeah, little plants.
Little.
And a couple pumpkins.
Yes, and a muskmelon.
And a muskmelon. Okay.
Yeah.
So she really didn't buy
it.
Just half of one little tray, and so we put it in the into the vehicle, and we're going to head out. We're going to head to the next nursery, which is my favorite nursery. It's the most expensive nursery, but they have the best plants. They're big, they're beautiful, they're vibrant. You never see a plant tipped over. You don't see a plant burned out. Like they take care of everything really well. And I'm thinking, all right, last time we were there, we were looking at a couple pawpaw trees, persimmon trees, and some pecan trees. And I'm thinking, okay, I'm gonna have to, get 6 or 8 of these things in B's Jeep. And so then we hop into the vehicle, and she's like, I just want to go home. I'm like, you don't want to go to the other nursery? She said, we were just there. Yeah. And last time we were there, the vehicle was full and I couldn't get everything that you wanted, but I'm happy to go if you want to go. No, let's go home and turn the air conditioners on. I don't know if you guys are experiencing any heat
right now.
Yeah.
What was the high today?
Like 84.
Come on.
Yeah. It wasn't very, maybe 90.
It felt hot.
Yeah, it was hot. But anyway, so we skipped the other nursery and we drove home. And for those of you in the world today who says you cannot live off grid and have air conditioning, I have air conditioning blowing on my neck right now. It's absolutely.
Thank God. It's 75 in here right now. Yeah.
So it's quite nice. So once
what is, and you said it's only 80 outside?
I think it was about 84. Last time I looked at it was outside, but it's,
it says 86 right there. You gotta be kidding.
86. See, look at that. Oh, look at that. RN says heat factor in central Alabama was 103 today.
Wow.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. So it's hotter than it was the last couple of days.
Yeah. Hey, we'll be cool. How are you? I think part of the reason, you can speak to this, B, why she just wasn't much into it, is she has spent the vast majority of the last, I don't know, month outside in the heat planting. And I don't know how many individual plants have you planted this year? Yeah. Have you lost track?
Yeah.
Yeah. Redneck says, we don't have that luxury at the moment. Yeah, no, I know you don't. I'd be racing towards it though, for sure. Skanes Girl says, I had to break down and turn the AC on 80 this afternoon. Not for me, but my dad's 14-year-old beagle mix was struggling in the heat.
Oh yeah, that's another thing. Like the animals, it's a struggle for them as well.
Yeah. Gypsy says, I love our AC 78 here. And Gypsy and Louise have been living off grid for many, many years. So just so you guys know, you can absolutely do it. We were at 102 at 11:45 a.m. and it's not even August. And can you guys imagine what August is going to be like? Yeah, Terminator says, B, I finally got all my raised beds done and garden is fully in. It was down to 45 degrees by this morning, but my plants were okay. Man, I'd love a 45.
I'd love a 45 day or evening.
Yeah. Yeah. So how was your day? Tell me.
Yeah.
Did I interpret the day okay? Or?
Yeah.
So
what happened?
Why were you anti-plant today?
I don't know, but as soon as I got home and I started moving those plants from the back of the Jeep into the greenhouse, and then I was like, oh, hey, I forgot the squash in the back of the Kubota. So I looked in where I had the squash, and the bucket was all the way full. So they were submerged in the water. Got those out. And then I started walking around back to the front of the house, and realize that those weeds that I have already pulled twice now are knee high again. So I'm like, I need to put that paper in. I need to, why didn't I get bushes to plant there to get that kind of taken care of? My hesitation is because the dogs lay in that bed. And I know that whatever I plant in there, they're going to dig up. So, and you don't want a fence. I was hoping to put like there's a pillar and then a low wall and a pillar. If I could put fencing between the two pillars. I even took pictures of like some images on Google and snapped them, showed them to you. You didn't like them, but I don't know another way to keep the dogs out of that area before I try to plant something in there.
So what does that have to do with being anti-plant today?
I should have gotten plants for that area, but I didn't. I just know that I still have stuff to plant. And, you know, when Lindsay was here, she said, clean out the greenhouse. Like, what are we supposed to be doing? And she said, clean out the greenhouse. And you took that to mean like, hey, your greenhouse is dirty. And I took that to mean like, whatever plants are in there, get them, plant them where they're supposed to be, like clean it out. You know, of all the live plants, clean it out, plant everything out. But you were like,
my wife is a hoarder. She's a hoarder. When you go buy a plant at a nursery, the little plastic cup that it comes in, she just can't throw it out.
Do you guys throw them out if they're not ripped or crumbled or
or do
whatever?
You just stack them to the ceiling?
Just keep stacking it.
Yeah.
Because when you do use them and they rip, you do throw them away. So if they're not ripped, you should reuse them.
So why are you saving all of the leftover dog food bags? I mean, we can get into this, and I can go over and over in different examples. Let's talk about dog food bags.
In case you need them as sandbags. Yoda sent me a message and said, hey, save all your trash bags. And I'm like, or your dog food bags. And I'm like, I'm already on it, girl. Yeah. So you just never know when you're going to need them.
When you're going to need a sandbag, you should keep the
sandbags.
Oh my goodness.
Or food bags, because I save the ones from the feed too, right?
I know you do. I know you
Not
do.
if they're paper though. Those ones I use as trash cans and they get thrown away.
Happa Bluff Plum says, and I say this comment I think is important, says we're going to need to invest in shade cloth, I think, if we want gardens to survive. So last year, I bought a whole bunch of shade cloth for this exact purpose, so that if we needed to get to them, now, before someone says, "Oh, see, there's your store and stuff," we buy it. I buy it in bulk. I store it in the storage container called a shipping container, which is what it's for, on a shelf, not in the greenhouse where everything goes. But I think B, you're getting a lot of the help here, because like Starla says, dog food bags for grow bags. RN says tag, it's not hoarding, it's being prepared for the future. 2 is 1 and 1 is none. Yep, stack to the ceiling. B might be a hoarder, but she can get you what you need when you need it, which is actually a fascinating superpower of B. I don't know how she does that. I keep every one and stack them to the ceiling. I save all my yogurt and cottage cheese containers too.
Oh, I should do that.
Yeah, I save all the bags. I'm using them for trash now since I don't have to move them. One Step Closer says, I use them to start next season's seeds. Yep. AWA, what's going on, Wes? How are you? Let me see here. B, I have over 1,000 pots I reuse each year. Tag, I reuse dog food bags for grow bags, and they work amazing.
Grow bags, I never even thought about
that. My goodness, you guys are all hoarders. Dog food bags sewn together for windbreaks around crops and gardens. Okay. So let's say that we save all these. No, Suzanne, how are you? Says I save all of those containers to start seeds. And Karen says I save old birdseed bags to haul manure from the local farm home in my car, and wood chips. Also use them to sort recycling. Yeah, 10 bags is 1 and 1 is none. Right, right. Nito says my hubby has learned not to throw anything away unless he asks me. Oh
Wow.
my goodness.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
What can you use this for? Nothing. Yeah. Okay, throw it away.
Leah Louise says, B, you're doing right. I save all my containers. Okay, but there's
see? Yeah.
Okay.
You're supposed to reuse them.
Okay. So let's say you save them all. Where do you save them? See, that's the thing.
They're in the greenhouse.
That's why they're in the greenhouse, stacked to the ceiling. If you've got so many, why don't you put them in your shipping container and get them all put away?
Why does it matter? Why?
Because I have to look at them and I trip on them and they're everywhere.
Why are you in my greenhouse?
You guys see, everybody feel sorry for me.
Don't want to look at them. Don't go in there.
JB, how are you? Says I donate them to the FFA Greenhouse Project.
Oh,
that's cool.
But I use them.
Hey, my buddy Mo's in the house. How are you, my friend? See, Midwest Ribeye says, I use bigger containers to put baby fruit trees in to give them away.
Mm-hmm.
You see here, Alaska preppers say 2 is 1, 1 is none, but 27 is a good start. Yeah, B always likes to say 2 is 1, 1 is none, and 3 is a spare. Yeah, right? So.
Yeah, it's helpful to have extras.
Oh my goodness.
Of most everything.
Flatten, fold in half, stuff as many as you can to fit into another bag.
Right.
Yeah. So when I say my wife's a hoarder, it's not like it's just randomly, because she folds them neatly, puts them in a pile. There's just so much of that stuff. Mm-hmm. You know, it just drives me up a wall. Karen says, I'm too cheap to buy plants. I only buy seeds, but my sisters save their containers for me because I start everyone else's seeds too. And in the future, I may sell plant starts at the farmer's market. Okay, for you.
Because there's always something that I end up going and buying because it didn't pan out.
Well, and at the end of the day, you don't have seeds for everything.
Right.
Right. And as we continue to grow our food forest here at the farm, you know, like we just put in some honeyberries.
Honeyberry.
You know, and I've never seen seeds for honeyberries. And in fact, I stumbled across them at a greenhouse that I was walking through and said, oh, we don't have any honeyberries on the farm. Let's put a few honeyberry plants out there. Right.
Yeah.
So I like to add oddball stuff. Like today, again, as we went to the greenhouses, I was really pushing for her to get a couple pawpaw trees, you know, which is native to Kansas, but they're almost gone. Like you don't really see them.
Have you tried pawpaws?
No.
That's the thing. Like, you know, we're like, hey, let's go get some sheep. Yeah, let's go get some sheep. And then we're like, do we want sheep? We already bought sheep.
Yeah. Hey, Gizmo's in the house. Says, B, were your parents or grandparents children of the Depression?
I'm sure.
Oh, thank you very much. I just found out I'm live. That's good. Oh, there we go. Yeah, WA says always save your baling twine too. No, B. So when our
my bales come in a
net. Yeah, they don't come with twine. But could you imagine trying to organize all that?
No,
that'd be fun.
No, I save like wire that like fencing that we took down. I save wire from that and reuse it to tie other fencing up.
Yeah.
You know, old hoses I take and I cut into pieces and I run wire through it to wrap around a tree so that the hose is touching the tree and not the wire touching the tree. I save all kinds of stuff and it's all useful.
I've noticed.
You know, you drink milk and I save milk jugs in case, you know, I want to use them as over the tomato plants to start them
ACM
earlier.
Says.
We have pawpaw trees. Do you
have any that are fruiting?
Eat the fruit?
Is there any of them we could take some seeds from and work on growing some on our own?
Or we can taste a fruit and be like, hey, that tastes horrible. I'd never eat that. Or, hey, this is the best thing ever. We would like to invest in this in our future.
Yeah, Gregory says, hey, everyone, been watching tornado coverage in northeast Nebraska. Let me see here. Jen says baling twine is good for a Florida weave on a tomato plant. I'm not sure what a Florida weave is.
Probably like where you weave it up.
Gypsy says, hey, I'll help you out, Tag. I'll bring over some hay string. Yeah, thanks, man. Man, with friends like you guys, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Pawpaws grow wild behind us in the woods, also called custard apples. I like them.
Oh.
Yeah, B's a bona fide homesteader.
Custard apples.
Yeah, but see, to me, here's the thing about that is that, like today when we were at the greenhouse, they had some cold hardy olive trees, which is not something you're going to normally get around here.
Yep.
And but I don't even like olives, right?
Right.
But I would absolutely plant olive trees on my property so that bee can eat her olives. Now, I recognize they're not really that cold hardy and they're probably going to die here. But let's suppose for the moment that they were hardy. I don't mind planting things that you like. And furthermore, I don't mind planting things that a cow is going to enjoy or that the bees will enjoy, even if I don't get the use out of it. I mean, I think you're talking about creating a complete environment.
An environment mostly native, hopefully.
Yeah. Well, a pawpaw tree would be native to here.
Yeah, that makes sense.
We don't have them on our land, and
which is so weird then if it's so native, right? Why wouldn't we have one? We don't have elderberry in the wild either.
ACM says haven't looked at them lately, but had some last year. Yeah, I'd love to get some seeds and at least maybe try them. And, maybe that. Let me see here. Jen says olives take a bit of process for eating. Well, since I don't eat them, I wouldn't have to worry about that process. But bee loves olives, right?
Yeah.
Amongst other things, mushrooms. I'm not a big mushroom fan, but man,
I do. I like mushrooms.
Yeah.
Do you like okra?
It's okay.
Yeah.
I wouldn't put it in, anywhere up towards.
But like potatoes or
potato would be at the top. Yeah. As far as vegetable goes, just plant potatoes. That's all we need.
Carrots.
A few carrots.
Cherries.
Yeah. Those are fruits.
Well, just a variety of things is what I meant.
So here, Midwest says, I grew 4 pawpaws from seed last year. They took a long time to germinate. I almost threw them out. Interesting. Good to know. The nursery that I was talking about had like 6 pawpaw trees about this tall, which would have been perfect for us. They also had some that were like 10 feet tall,
and they had fruit on them.
And had fruit on them already. But we didn't buy any of them because Bee was she was kind of poo-poo in the day a little bit.
No, it was just so hot. I even had to take you were in the greenhouse portion of the greenhouse, and I had to take a step inside the main building because I was just overly hot.
Yeah. Hey, Will Be Cool says he was born in Spain and you got to love olives. Jen says mushrooms. Why is that acting so? There we go. Mushrooms are nasty, I would say. Good for compost. I can't believe Jen don't like mushrooms.
I can't either.
I figured she'd be a mushroom eater. No, but apparently not. So anyway, as I mentioned to you guys, today's our anniversary, and I thought I would share with you guys, just never have. So me and Bea have been together 19 years, right?
B&I, yes.
B&I, and that is a picture from our wedding day I thought I would share with you guys.
Yeah.
Look how young I look.
That was 13 years ago.
No,
yeah.
You haven't aged at all. I've aged a lot.
I have a little bit. I can't even see that far away.
Yep. You got your glasses on.
I know, but if I lift up to where the reading part is, I can see better, but I'm not going to sit here like this. We should get maybe get our eyes checked again. Yeah,
maybe. This picture was taken in Kauai, Hawaii. When I met Bea, I had asked her, I said, what do you want out of life? Once I knew that I wanted to be with Bea, we had this big conversation, and she had said to me that she wanted these handful of things, and on her list of the things that she wanted, one of them was to get married in Hawaii, right?
Yep.
And she also wanted a white picket fence. She wanted to stay home. She wanted to be a mom.
Yep.
Right? Now, just so everybody hears it, was there anything on your bucket list from that original conversation that has not been fulfilled?
I don't think so.
So you got everything you wanted.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So you guys heard it. Bonnie, welcome, by the way. Yeah. Look how Bea hasn't aged at all. And all I've done is gotten gray, huh?
You do have a little gray.
Now that you've gotten everything you wanted, I said on purpose.
Yeah.
And I'm going to use it later to my benefit.
Oh, I'm sure of that.
We want to talk a little bit about stuff that's going on around the farm?
Sure.
Then we can talk more about marriage and stuff later.
Okay.
Oh, what's this here? Tamber says, beautiful picture of y'all. I wish I had some of that bamboo to make trellises out of.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah, Tamber, if you get a hold of Grumpy Acres, They have a ton of bamboo.
I thought I heard from the grapevine that they got rid of their bamboo.
They mowed a bunch of it down, but they had a big field. I'm sure they've got plenty of it still there. You know. Oh, Carrie Davis says, "Congrats! We were celebrating our 27th this weekend. Good for you. Good for you. You know, I think finding a way to master your relationship is so critical to this life. I mean, it's just such an important part of all of this. You know, and I'm telling you guys, I couldn't do this life without my wife. Hey, Southern Comfort Homestead, how are you? I couldn't do it without B. And, there's a lot of situations, and, I get lots and lots of emails from lots and lots of people who talk about how, one member of the relationship is not into it or isn't supportive or whatever. And I couldn't imagine a time or a place in my life where I falter or I fail or something don't go like it was according to go. Right. And then I have a spouse that then jumps on to remind me, of that failure or, because they weren't supportive, kind of from the beginning. And, I think if you're in that situation, I think you got to find a way to find common ground, because if every time I went and bought a tree, let's say, and it died, then I had to listen to why I wasted $80 or whatever it was, that would get old fast.
Yeah.
Right. Because it just, stuff happens and it doesn't go according to plan, all of the time. And this life is not meant for the weak stomach.
It rarely goes according to plan.
Right.
You got this, when you do your plan, it's all, it's all everything wonderful. And then you're, this happens and that happens and this happens. And you're like, damn.
Yeah.
So it rarely goes according to plan.
Yeah. Your harvests are never what you plan them to be. Everyone, I think, enters this world thinking, hey, I'm going to put some seeds in the ground and, everything's going to blossom and everything's going to fruit. And
it should be so easy. You just throw some seeds in the ground and then you have this beautiful garden.
Yeah. But Carrie Davis says, I haven't woke up with a pillow over my face yet. That's right. But having that ride or die person because I'm telling you guys, I'm one of the most positive, motivated people you'll ever meet. You'll very rarely catch me in a bad mood, and I'm pretty much who I am, right? I mean, pretty much all of the time, but I have my moments. And, some of you may not know this about me, and I've shared this with American Roots Farm one day because they were having one of these moments, but I have a throw your hammer moment from time to time, right? I have a kick the ladder over and walk away cussing from time to time because something didn't go exactly right. Having my wife here to talk me down through those things. And she's brutal, man. If I kicked a ladder over and walked away, she'd say, oh, that's going to make the ladder last longer, but the truth is she's right. Right. And so I love you, babe. And I couldn't even imagine trying to conquer all of these incredibly hard tasks, without you. Oh, look at this. Harry Kent Hepworth says on June 2nd, we celebrate our 50th.
Oh, congratulations.
Yeah, that's so beautiful. Big. That is so big. I bet you could give some of the most amazing marital advice, Harry, on how two people managed to keep it together for 50 years.
It's a long time.
Yeah, that's awesome. Big congratulations. And Harry, make sure you tell your beautiful bride from B and I that we said happy anniversary. And, you should write a book. Because that's an accomplishment worthy of, writing a book. Yeah. Jen says everyone has a plan until you get punched in the mouth. Yeah. My Life with Mike and Jen, we got to spend a lot of time with them, and they have a great marriage. And, something I've always admired about people is when I meet friends and they have this super strong relationship. To me, I'm attracted to those types of people.
Yeah.
Yeah. You agree?
Well, yeah. You surround yourself with people that you want to be like. So
yeah. And so I think that's super, super neat. But I think the advice I'd give you guys on that is that, as Life with Mike and Jen said, everyone has a plan until you get punched in the mouth. You got to have that other person there who's shares similar dreams. I purposely didn't say the same dreams.
Yeah.
Right. Because even in our world, for example, bees need to grow our food and make our soap. And those kind of things are probably higher on her list than mine.
I was going to say, yeah.
Right. But we both want to live a more self-sufficient life. Right. We both want to live independently. My need to automate everything is probably not as high on her list
Right.
as it is on my list.
Right.
And, even though, for me, I think of it like I justify it by saying, I'm going to make B's life easier.
Yes.
And that's true. And I mean
it
that.
does.
That's sincerity.
Yeah.
Right. I mean that. Like if I can take a little bit of that energy that she has to spend carrying that bucket of water away.
Yeah.
Right.
Or opening the turkey door. Or chicken door.
Yeah.
Here's a pulley. Just use the pulley.
Yeah. Right. So it's interesting. We do have different goals on our farm, but we have the same big picture, overall picture. She knows with 100% certainty she can count on me, that if she needs something that, that I'll be there, and I know that. And I know the same thing, going back. And so it's kind of this magical thing. I don't know if you guys know this or not, but probably the biggest compliment we get here at Life Done Free isn't the cool solar system and the systems and the gardens and all that. It's that, how do you and your wife have such a good relationship? Right. That's probably the number one that I hear all the time. I talk to you guys a lot about how love is the easiest of all things. And I think people misunderstand kind of what I mean by that. Right.
Yeah.
Because
you say that a lot,
but it's not worth it. Having a great relationship is not without effort.
No, there's effort.
Yeah. There's lots of
effort. There's effort.
So then what do I mean by it's the easiest of all things? Because I would equate easy to without effort.
It's not necessarily a chore. You don't feel when you love them, you don't feel like it's like you're doing it because like it's a chore. You have to do it. You do it because you want to. You want to see them happy. You want to see them.
How let me say it another way. How hard is it to go out there and work really, really hard on your favorite hobby?
Right.
I mean,
your favorite hobby.
Yeah, your favorite hobby. My wife's my favorite hobby. So doing the things that makes her happy, doing the things that I know means something to her. And we've talked about it many times on this channel. There's things I do that I think are stupid, but I do them because they make her happy.
Right.
Just true. But at the end of the day, because she's my favorite hobby, working hard on my hobby isn't hard. Like if what you love to do is woodworking, let's say, right, and you love to go out into your shop and you wanted to build furniture. Well, yeah, it's a lot of work. But at no point do you look at it and go, oh, this is just too hard.
Yeah, I don't want to do it anymore.
Right.
Get rid of it.
Right. Why?
Because you love to do it.
Oh, that's right. This is why love is the easiest of all things.
Yeah.
Right? It doesn't mean it's not without effort. It just means that me doing the things that makes my wife happy, me seeing her smile, feeling her love, feeling that her life has meaning in it, and that I can play some role in that is worth every bit of effort that I put into my favorite hobby.
Yeah.
Right?
That's beautiful.
Oh. Yeah,
yes.
when am I going to get some cinnamon rolls?
That makes... there's some on the stove. What are you jumping for?
I thought you were going to hit me.
Why would I hit you? Good grief.
I thought you were gonna hit me.
There's someone that's sitting on the stove, and I just saw them just a minute ago. And went, oh, hey, I think those need to be taken care of, or they're going to spoil fast. You need to eat them tonight.
Southern Comfort Homestead says it's hard these days to find someone on the same page that wants to work towards things. Yeah, I know it's hard. And I don't think that there's many, and I don't think there's, long lines of people who want to live this way, because living this way is hard.
It is hard.
But again, I'd really encourage you guys to find someone who that's their hobby, right? If you're single. And we're going to talk a lot about these kinds of things as we go through our live tonight. But if you're married and you're out there, make your wife your hobby again. If it's not. Right. Make your husband, your hobby again.
Yeah. So I've never understood like how women would go out there and they would listen to their bosses. They'd listen to what they have to say and take their advice, but yet they wouldn't listen to their husbands. They don't want to take their advice.
Which is crazy because they're sharing a life with their husband. They're sharing a bed with their husband. They're sharing food with their husband. Right. Right. Yeah. Someone once told me that women want love and men want respect.
Mm-hmm. Well, we do. We want love. We like that. I'm sure you guys like respect.
Mm-hmm. One Step Closer says me. and my better 3/4 will be celebrating 22 years in October. She tolerates my brand of crazy. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. B one time, I don't even remember this or not, but she said something to the effect, she knew that I was the right one for her because the worst of me she could deal with, or something like that. How did you say it?
Yeah,
I'm paraphrasing.
that's about right.
Yeah, that the worst of me, that she could deal with.
The worst things that you do, the things that still just drive me freaking crazy, I'm okay with you doing them.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, the beautiful MJ from Wisconsin is in the house. Welcome, MJ.
Hello.
Yeah, someone comes to that it is hard. It is hard. But I think there's also something else out there, which I think because of the world, this is if you guys are single out there, have faith and have trust and have belief, because I think the way the world is today, there's more and more people waking up every single day.
Yeah.
The number of emails that I got 2 years ago versus what I get today are far different. And the type of emails I'm getting, it used to be in the very early days of this channel's life, I would get emails about prepping or homesteading, or, hey, this is how many panels I have. What can I run on it? Right. It was those more kinds of things. When today I get lots of emails about, hey, I stumbled across you guys and I also want to live free, or whatever it is, and people who are turning that corner. So again, I really encourage you guys to have faith that corner's being turned. And you guys have heard me tell this story about my uncle a million times on the channel, but I am really glad I didn't call him stupid that day.
Yeah.
And don't forget that everybody's at a different place in their journey, and that could also be your spouse, right? So if your spouse is at a different place in their journey, be there to support them at the place that they are.
And take them around other people that are like that. Maybe they'll like somebody, and then they'll start to talk to them, and then they'll go, oh, that doesn't seem so crazy. Like when my wife says it, why do we need 400 toothbrushes? That's ridiculous. Or 100, little pots to plant seedlings in because we need them.
Well, I can't tell you how many community members are in our community today where one part of a relationship wasn't necessarily as far as another one, right? But by being around, and I'll pick on the girls for a minute, other ladies, it moved that ball quick.
Yeah. And now we all have toothbrushes and little pots to put seedlings in.
That wasn't what I was going to say.
Oh,
you're a dork.
Yeah, well, right.
Yeah, One Step Closer says, Tag, did you say make your wife your fixer-upper? Sure. And I think, I know this was said half jokingly, but One Step Closer is actually a really important point in here. And that how can I be the very best friend in the world to Bethany if I don't push her out of her comfort zone?
Yeah, I don't like it.
She don't like it. But my job is to help her grow. And her job is to help me grow, right?
Yeah.
So I would actually prefer that quite often I get her uncomfortable and help fix her up. Right? Just like as I would expect her to do for me.
Yeah. We've had to fix a lot of things in each other. For the better. Yep.
Skanes Girl says, you're telling me if you have a partner on the same page, thank God every day, I'm still hopeful. Be hopeful. Skanes Girl, be hopeful. Yeah. I'm telling you, there's a lot of people at different places in their journeys. There's a lot headed this way. You look at any poll, you look at what just happened in Europe, which we'll talk about tonight. You look at what's going on, the sediment, you look at the number of bankruptcies going on, you look at the state of the economy, you look at the state of the justice system, the education system, the finance system, you look at any of them, and people are waking up more and more every single day. Just don't tear them down.
Right.
When they start taking that first step into the journey of being free, don't ridicule them, don't make fun of them, support them, and encourage them. It's okay not to be at the exact same place in the journey. Yeah. You have a role as a wife, and you need to do your duty. No different than I have a role as a husband, and I have to do mine. Nito says, hubby and I met Valentine's Day in 2010. After multiple marriages for each of us, we finally decided to get married in February of 2021. How cool is that? And you know what?
They're newlyweds.
Yeah. I would have never guessed that. For a lot of you guys don't know this, but I have spent some time on the phone with Nitos, with that family. I have spoken to him and her and spoken to them several times together. And it's funny, they banter with each other like they've been married 25 years, which I think is absolutely awesome. What do we got here? Jen says, as you know all too well, running a business and building a home definitely gives us an opportunity to show patience and love. 100%. Mm-hmm. And I think this is a really, really good point. I mean, as he was out trying to build this gigantic business and you were helping him, and you were at home trying to build this gigantic business and he was trying to help you, it's very easy to get at each other.
Yeah.
Because we say, my job's more important, or you don't work as hard when in the end of the day we're all just kind of in it together, right? I mean, bees. You've been staying home for a long time. How many years? At least a decade, right? I'm guessing. No, not that long.
No.
How long have you been home full time? I don't even remember.
Yeah, 8 years, 9
Okay.
years. 8 years.
One of the best things we ever did. Again, I think money is the land of make believe, so it's not all that important. But the things that get done, her being able to make our food and her being able to take care of us and make sure that our bodies are getting what they're supposed to be getting, I think is far worth it. Hey, Conserve friends, good evening. Says, good evening, neighbors. I noticed that marriage is more than a two-time multiplier. Two pulling in the same direction can accomplish so much. Agreed, so much. Yeah. It's I've told some of these stories on the lives before, but I have accomplished many great things in my life. And from the definition of the system, I was very successful in some of those endeavors, and I couldn't have done any of them without my wife. You guys, I probably know this about me. I was married once before, and Bethany's my second wife. And in my first marriage, my wife was, and she's a plenty nice lady. We get along fine. So this is not a negative thing, but she really didn't push me. It was almost like me going to work was a burden. Like, and so it was really hard to stay motivated, and it was hard to do those things when B was really, really smart and made me proud to go. And when I left to go to work and I left to go do those things, I was trying to make her proud of me. And so I pushed really, really, really hard. And so I would not have been able to accomplish those things if it wasn't for you, because of your poking me in the back as I walked out the door.
You were quite successful before we met.
Yeah, but not like after. And successful doesn't mean money, babe.
You were successful. Well,
success does not mean money.
Not now.
Mm-mm.
I agree with you.
I am much more successful with you in my life. We see here, Jen says, feeling you, B. Mike does that too, and I'm so grateful. Oh, man, I'm way behind. Try to blow through this. Long-term beneficial adversary, a.k.a. spouse. This is actually a super good point right here. And I like the word adversary, beneficial adversary.
Yeah.
So what she's really referring to is that as you go through life together, you've got a lot of big, hard decisions that have to be made. Yeah. And if we all just agree on everything all the time, you're not going to make as many good decisions, right? And so having that person in your life who can counter your argument.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, discord is healthy in so many ways, right? So yeah, I think this is a really good point, MJ.
Yeah. And when it's my turn to take lead on something, I take lead on it.
Yeah.
And when it is not my turn to take lead in it, I stay in my own lane.
We'll talk about that. I think that
is not something that I need to be putting any effort into. Oh, I didn't stir that. That might be chunky at the bottom. Sorry.
Okay. Talk about that. Talk about what that means.
Just
because I think this is important.
Not nitpicking. If I leave, I remember when we first started working here, and I was like, oh, I want this bendy tree back here because it bent over and it hit the ground and it started growing back like that. I'm like, oh, how artsy is that? Let's keep it. And he's like, cut it down, gotta go. And I'm like, and it's not. He was the one that was tending to that lane and doing the moving of the dirt and going back and forth with the skid loader. And, it was not it was not a tree that was going to live. He wanted it gone because it was in his way and it needed to be gone so that he can get through there. And he made an executive decision to top it. And that was just that. So when I'm doing it and it's, the garden and he's like, oh, I don't think you should put that there. And I'm like, I'm putting it there. And he's like, oh, I don't think you should put that there. And I'm like, stay in your lane. This is, why are you even in here? Oh, I don't think you should put herbs into this part of the garden. You should only put the herbs over in that part of the garden. I'm just like, what do you know about companion planting? And he's just like, what are you talking about? you know, but I just think that they should be over here in this area.
Mhm.
But so it's easy to nitpick when you aren't the one doing the job.
Mhm.
You know, you're cutting the trees down, you're clearing the ground, you're moving the dirt, you're putting the building up. It didn't go in the right location. The ground's not level, the this, the that, the what, you know. It's easy to go and pick at things that were not your responsibility to do. And we try not to do that to each other.
Yeah, let me say that whole thing another way. So me and B work together all the time, but we've gotten to a point where we understand our roles. And
Yeah.
so, like when we're in the garden, I'm the laborer. I'm happy to do whatever she asks me. And I voice my opinion. Don't misunderstand, right? I'll tell B I wouldn't do it that way.
One.
Yeah, and I have one. But at the end of the day, if this is the way B wants it, I don't even. It's not something I'm going to fight. I'm not going to argue over. We're not going to debate it. She can have it however she wants it, because that's the role that she's in charge of. The same thing works on the other side. You guys know we're building a community building right now. And the way I lay out that wall, I'm going to do it the way I want to do it. I welcome all the feedback. And B's come up with all kinds of cool ideas on those things in the past. But at the end of the day, I'm in charge and I'm going to do it the way I want it done.
Yeah. Well,
Right.
And it's easy to go together and work on things and go, oh, here's the pros of this way and here's the cons of that way. And you go, oh, I didn't see that. Or, oh, that's easy. Oh, girl thinks like that. I didn't think like that.
Yeah.
And so then you're like, yeah, okay, we can do that. So super easy. Glad you told me now.
Yeah.
But
hey, All American Prepper, welcome. Sorry I left that up there so long, but it was my reminder to welcome you. But oh my goodness, there's a lot. I'm going to skip down here a little bit. If I miss somebody's comments, I apologize. But you know how it is. I can't get too far behind or I'll forget where I'm at. And then, off we go. Masio Parrott says, you also have to remember sometimes when you're frustrated, when working together, it's not always the person frustrating. It can be many other factors, hungry, heat, etc. 100%. 100%. And well, here's another good point to this, Masio, because you know that B and I today, when we were at the greenhouse, she was getting really, really hot. And she's like, I got to go inside for a minute. This is getting me. And so she went inside. So I went and got her an iced tea.
Yeah.
Right.
A big old giant one. They had like a vendor in the parking lot of the.
Yeah. Yeah. But getting her an iced tea wasn't hard.
No, but it was, I was so thankful.
I mean, this is what I mean by love is the easiest of all things. I was more concerned because she was hot. Yeah. Right. Than I was the like 30 steps it was going to take me to get an iced tea. I
feel like I'm burned too. Like my skin kind of hurts. Like I don't usually burn. So it's not like something I'm used to. My sister was redheaded and white skin and she would burn even in the shade. But that's not something that I've had to like.
You tan great.
Keep an eye on. Well, and I don't think that if I was sunburnt, you would see it. I think that my back is so dark right now that you wouldn't even notice that if it was burned.
Yeah, probably not, because you're dark. Jen says we sometimes have to ask ourselves, is it going to matter in 5 minutes, 5 days, or 5 years? We didn't learn to pick our battles. I think that's said super, super well too. I know that there's things that I do that drive you crazy. Right? What are some of them?
Your milk. Your milk glasses like all over the house, and I find them and they're like solidified. And then they like so like it starts to pull itself away from the glass as it dries, and then it has cracks in the top. And then when you go to like chunk it out of the cup, if you're lucky, it comes out in like a chunk, but otherwise you have to sit there and you have to scrape it. That was something else too, like cereal bowls. When he eats cereal, he leaves the stuff in the bowl and then it like sticks to the side and then it dries and then it's like there for like the whole day. And then by the time I get to it, I'm like, you got to soak that stuff off because it's not just like a wash, But yeah, I figured that if I have to scrape cereal and basically cottage cheese out of cups, chocolate cottage cheese.
I don't eat cottage cheese that much.
No, it's like that's what that milk looks like. It's like all like chunky.
Yeah, I have a habit of leaving my cups in places, and then they mold. I go on to the next gig. I don't even think about it.
No, you just go get another one.
Yep.
So
what else do I do? Drive you up a wall?
Those are like the cereal thing doesn't happen often. The milk thing, that's like That's an every other day event. I mean, there's times where I'm like, why are there no cups in the cabinet? Like, how where are they? And then you come into the house from your car and there's like 5 cups with the lids off of them. Who knows what's in them? My gosh. Oh my gosh. I'm like, what is in this? Yeah. Don't ask.
Mhm.
Don't ask.
Oh, look at this. Love this statement. Well, let me get down here to it.
I think we've got like 11 of those cups.
Yeah, and we need like 50.
We don't need them. They just need to, there's one person using them.
Mm-hmm.
There should not be any way that you can use up 11 cups.
I promise if you walked around my farm right now and went in my shop, there's probably a cup in there.
Oh, for sure.
Or in pod
4. In there. Yeah.
Yeah.
In my office, in my shop, in your shop.
All record purposes, a good wife will make you, a bad wife will break you. Helen says, Tag, put the cereal bowl in the sink. I do put it in the sink.
He puts it in the sink, but he doesn't rinse it out.
Yeah.
So it's like dried, crusty chunks on the side.
Yeah.
He just leaves the milk in there too. Like, I'm like, drink the milk. What? You're drinking a cup of milk, but you will not drink the milk from the cereal. Why? Why?
Because it's not efficient.
No, because you're wasteful.
No, it's not efficient.
What do you mean it's not efficient to pick up your bowl and drink it?
No, that'd be weird.
It's sugar milk, which is the same thing that's in your cup as sugar milk.
Ellen says, fill the bowl with water. Yeah.
No kidding. Just if you just put water in it, it stops that. And I've showed him that. I've shown him. I've talked to him about it.
MJ's got a very important message for you.
Talked about
you need to read MJ's message out loud.
It's those little things that drive you crazy that you will miss the most when you lose them.
Oh. You're gonna miss my
chunky cereal
bowls. Yep, I need to get you a T-shirt so you remember it forever. What's this? Anyone knows the doula that was on here once? I want to contact her and ask about shots for babies. I
don't know if she was a doula. She was a combat midwife.
Yeah, she has a YouTube channel called the Combat Midwife, Barb. And I believe if you get on there, I believe it is Jessica at combatmidwife.com. I think it's her email address, but if you get on her YouTube channel, I believe it's on there. Let me see here. Mike puts his napkin in his plate, soggy or stuck to it. Then he's outside working on the house, moving mulch or something else, and I no longer care. This is a great point, though, right?
Yeah.
I think Jen really sums this up. And Jen, you and Mike have a great relationship, and I can see it through and through. But this is a really, really great example, is that he did that. She probably don't particularly like that, but at the same time, he's done eating his dinner and he's back out working.
Yeah. Trying
to provide the best life that he can, because for a guy, that's super important.
Yeah.
At least for me, it's super important. Yeah, 2 people said, need to add chocolate to that milk bowl. Tag, add chocolate. Yeah. Oh, there you go. Bonnie says, yeah, Combat Midwife's also on Facebook.
Oh, yeah. Right. Thanks.
Starla says at MJ in Wisconsin, that is so true. My husband is not deceased, but there is so much that he no longer can do. I miss so much of his old self. It's hard as we get older, you know, and there's things that B used to do, early in our relationship that she don't do anymore, that I miss. Right. I'm sure that's true for you too.
I'm sure.
And those kind of things. But again, I think if you're going down the path with the same purpose, the same overlying goals, I think it makes it a lot easier to get there. You agree?
I agree.
Mm-hmm. That's leadership, B. Staying in our own lane is a leadership rule. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Well, leadership's such an interesting thing. They say that a leader's job is done when the people say, look what we did.
Yeah.
And, there's times on our farm where B is the clear leader, and there's times where I'm the clear leader.
Yeah.
And I think you can't lead if you can't follow.
Yeah.
And if you have to be a Nazi and be in control of every single decision, right, then all you're going to do is have problems along the way.
Yeah.
We, luckily for B and I, we have managed to find a place where this is what she's in charge of. I'll help her, right? We'll go do the job together. That's fine.
Yeah, if I need it.
Yeah. If she needs me to move dirt or put a fence up or whatever it is, fine. But I don't have the bandwidth to manage 100% of everything. I just don't.
Yeah.
And so we have found a way in our relationship where this is my role. And then she'll help me. Guys, the room we're sitting in right here is 3 stories off the ground. When I was standing these walls, she was up here with me holding a wall, crying as I'm yelling at her to hold the frickin' wall.
Yeah.
Because the wind was blowing, right?
22 miles an hour.
Yeah. How do you remember that?
I just remember because I remember going, that doesn't seem like much. And then I'm like, what if I drop it? Don't.
Yeah, it was this wall right here, wasn't it?
But what if I do? Don't.
Yeah. Oh, one more rock says, I miss my younger self. I miss my younger self too. Yeah, I would agree with that. It's not so much that I can't do it anymore. I'm as strong as I've ever been. I just can't do it for as long. I don't recover the same.
Yeah, it hurts.
There was a time in my life where I could, get up at 5 o'clock, go to work at 6, frame houses, all day long, get out at 6 o'clock, get drunk till 2 o'clock in the morning, go to bed and get back up at 5 and I was fine.
Yeah.
I could never do that today. Like there's just absolutely no way. Hey, Todd, not Todd, how are you? See, Nito says, hubby and I are reversed on the typical roles. I enjoy outside the garden, chickens, mowing, etc. And hubby will do the work inside, work happily. If it works, it's great. Right. I think what's important is if you go out to manage the gardens and then come in and want to micromanage what's going on inside.
Yeah.
I don't micromanage what B does.
Yeah. I'm outside doing the chores, doing the gardens, doing the chickens while he's sitting in the air conditioner typing on the typewriter.
Yep. We don't have a typewriter. We have a computer.
The computer.
Yeah. Well, someone's got to pay the bills.
I pay the bills. Somebody's got to pay the bills. Yeah. Well, that's me.
How about someone's got to earn it?
Oh, yeah. That's not me.
Yeah.
We would go broke.
Yep. Todd says I'm on vacation. Yep. And that whole I'm on vacation thing has turned out to be such a crazy thing when it started such a simple thing. But I think, again, this is taking care of someone you love. And, it really just started as something so simple as B wasn't a great day and things were frustrated. And I just reminded her that this, again, was what she wanted and she got exactly what she wanted. Congratulations, living a life where you were on vacation.
Yeah.
Right. Really, that's all it was. And I never really thought much more of it after that. And then it's really turned into this. I mean, I have people when I go speak who are in the audience who will yell out, I'm on vacation, which is super neat, super, super neat. The pictures from your build were amazing, hanging off the roof like a freaking Spider-Man. Oh, yeah. There's so many places and pictures that I have of B in uncomfortable situations, right? When you're rocking the chimney, 3 stories up, 4 stories almost.
Yeah.
Up rocking the chimney or putting the tin on the turkey coop up on the roof, waving at me.
Yeah.
Right. And there's so many of those. I'm very, very proud of my wife. She's done awesome. And I can get her to do just about anything except swim in the pond.
I just don't like the water. Ay. Get in this pool. The water is wet.
Mm-hmm. Oh, this is important. Masio Parrott says learning that everyone has a different communication style is key to being successful in marriage. Yep. And learning how to speak those languages, those love languages.
Yeah.
Right. I mentioned earlier that I do things for B that I think are stupid. And I've been very vocal about it. She knows this. So this will be no big
secret. I've heard they're stupid.
Yeah. Well, I'll give you an example.
18 years now.
Yeah. Let me give you an example. So when I leave work to come home, she would prefer that I called her and told her I was on my way home.
Yeah.
Right. When I get to work, she'd prefer I called her and told her that I made it to work.
Yeah, I made it.
If I stop somewhere, if I'm going to go to Home Depot on the way home, she'd prefer to know that I'm stopping to go to Home Depot. I understand that for her, one of her love languages is accountability. It's not hard for me to do that for her. It's not hard for me to call, and I do it. I don't get it. It don't make any sense to me, but this is
stupid.
Well, it is stupid because I'm a grown man, but doing the things that make you feel safe.
Yes.
And make you feel loved are not hard for me.
Yes.
It doesn't make sense to me. I don't get the purpose of it. But I do it though, don't I?
Yep.
Right. But again, it's, speaking to those love languages, right?
Yes. Filling my tank.
Yeah. Tamara Smith has got to go say hi to Danny and Wanda. Hey, I don't know if you guys know this or not, but the reason our lives are on Friday and not on Saturday, originally I wanted to do them on Saturdays, was because I didn't want to conflict with Danny and Wanda, who I think very highly of.
Yeah.
You know, so hey, Toby Baldwin, how are you?
Send them our love.
Yep. Make sure you guys, if you guys go over there to Danny, tell him that the Tag Clan said hello. Yep, Toby, there's a future Kansan. Well, you guys want to see some pictures of what's been going on in the homestead? We
Sure.
continue on. You want to?
Yeah, let's do it. Do you want me to turn off the air since it's like dark?
Yeah, you probably should. Yep, you got it?
Yeah, I suppose.
Okay. So let's add some pictures to the stage. So if you guys remember, this is actually a little bit older of a picture. I just wanted to take you back as I show you the progress of the community building. This was the first pad that we poured on the community building. And again, many of you guys have seen this picture before, but again, I wanted to kind of just show you the progress, you know, as we've gone along. This I showed last week, this retaining wall. I had a sidewalk to pour over it, which we poured this week. But as you look across that foundation, there's actually 3 of those pours now, and you can see the start of the retaining wall. So this is the exact same place looking in the exact same way. Okay, so here's I've got to pour sidewalk over it, right? And I need to continue on that. You got it?
Yeah, sorry.
Oh my goodness. Right, this is the exact same place, same things. You can see the sidewalk got poured that was in there, and that retaining wall got. So this is the next thing I have to do is pour this retaining wall. And I'll show you why I have to. Again, as you look, here's the whole pad. There's the big retaining wall looking, you know, down the other direction, which again, this will be our next pour, will be that retaining wall. And then here's the opposite side. What I wanted to show you guys, oops, let me go back here. I thought I had a really good picture in here. Maybe not. Anyway, that retaining wall sits on the back wall of that first pour right there, because up where my truck is, you guys can see my black truck up there. That dirt is so much higher. I have to do something, you know, to push that dirt back. So who's this here? Oh, it looks like they're just chit-chatting. Dana Green, hello, says Danny and Wanda's are live and so conflicted. I like Danny and Wanda a lot. They're really, really good people. So I try not to conflict with them, but it's just how it worked out this week. Anyway, so that's where we're at on the community building, right? It's pretty cool. Looking forward to getting that poured once I get this retaining wall in the back. And I know that looks too. Sorry, I clicked it. I know it looks tall. That's only 4 feet tall, right? So it's not that tall of a retaining wall. It's going to be 8 inches wide. But once I get that poured, it's now the next step is to put the building up.
Now that plywood that you see there on the inside of the building will stay there.
Yes.
That's because
there's plumbing running in that wall. Yeah.
For the kitchen.
Yeah. Back side of it won't be there. Right. The back side we'll have to take off, and all these forms around the edges, they'll all come off. You know, as time goes on. But so this is where we're at. So I've got 1 pour left, which would be that back retaining wall. And I would say we are 98% ready to pour.
The back retaining wall and the side wings.
The little wings, right? And I think I've got some pictures in there. These little wings here that come out the edge. Once I get that done, all I have left now is I've got a little bit of rebar to tie up. We ran out of rebar ties, which is one of the reasons we went to Topeka today.
Yeah.
Right? Because I needed to get me some
rebar ties.
Yeah, some rebar ties. But anyway, so that'll be our next pour. And then once we get through with that, it will be, we'll get onto that. Once I get done with that, then we're ready to build the building. And so I've got all
the wood.
The wood, we'll frame it. Yeah, so we'll get all the walls up. I've got the trusses coming.
Look at that line. Is that this? Is that this? Look at that line. Oh my god.
My farmer's tan. Right.
Smokes.
But anyway, so then we're going to get the community building up, because we're going to re-race them to try to make sure that we get it weather tight before wintertime comes. But I've got a barn to build right behind it. So I've got to get it up, get the outside in, get the roof on, all of that stuff. And then I'll probably save the inside of it. Some of that probably for winter.
For winter.
You know, as we get through that. Although I'd like to be able to do the Freeman Festivus in there if I can get lucky enough to get that far this year, which I may or may not be able to do. But, you know, we'll just have to see, you know, kind of how it goes, right?
Yeah, we got to get to pod 4.
Yeah.
And get that done so that we can live there before
Soon.
Winter.
Yes. Yes. I am tired of climbing downstairs to pee. I can tell you that.
Yeah.
I've gotten
you and me both.
You and me both. All right. What else? So last weekend we went to an auction, which is what I was going to start showing you guys. I'm going to show you some of the things that I bought. So the picture on the left is a bale spear that goes on the front of the skid steer or on the front of her tractor. I paid $225 for it.
Does it have 3 prongs?
Yeah.
Because I only see 2.
Yeah, it's in the grass over there. It's got all 3. I promise you I would not have bought it otherwise. These UBC totes that you see on the right-hand side, these were interesting. These had lactic acid in them.
Yeah.
Right? And so we bought them. I paid $25 a piece for them. And what's really, I love doing stuff like this because it impacts so many other homesteads. So some of them, I think at least 3 homesteads are going to get some of these ICB totes. We're going to keep some as well as we go. But what a great buy for $25 a piece. 375-gallon totes. Right? At the very worst, I can take the plastic out of them and use them to stack firewood in. But I think these I'll keep because, again, they're food grade.
Well, and we need like 30
for the Wallapini.
For the Wallapini. We were told to collect 30.
Yeah. So, but that was pretty neat. What else did we get? The picture on right next to B&I, right? I found, you guys are going to believe this. I found a 12 by 14 garage door in pretty good shape. That might sound weird to you, but my Quonset hut, my shop, I've just built doors to swing, just regular, swinging doors to go in it until I could find a door because the quotes I were getting were like $15,000 and $18,000, and I wasn't going to spend that. So I bought that garage door. It had all the hardware, had the garage door open, looked to be in pretty good shape. I found an actual 12 by 14, which matches my opening, and I gave $400 for it. But I think the steal of the auction was the picture on the right, that little grate, because I'm going to put that on the front of Bee's Kubota so that she can carry plants and additional items around, and I gave $11 for it.
$10.50.
That it was $10.50. So that's all, believe it or not, I came back with the auction with. Oh, here, one more picture. There you go. That's it coming back from the auction. So you can see the totes and the garage door. The other stuff is in my truck, but that's what we managed to pull from the auction. Some other really cool things. Yeah. All American says, just pee in a jug, tag, keep it by your bed. Yeah. The other thing about the auction that was really, really neat is I watched, there's a homestead that I'm really good friends with who have got 2 vehicles and both with payments on them, but some equity, and they're trying to get out of them, get into something cheaper so they can get a little bit freer. They've been trying to find a skid loader, and man, did they steal one. They bought a 82 horsepower Cat skid steer there, but $30,000 machine for $17,000. I'd have bought it for that. And if they want to get their money out of it tomorrow, I'll give it to them.
But you'd buy it for 18?
I would, and I'd just sell mine because I bet you I could get more than that out of mine. Mine's a 60 horse. Yeah. But that was super, super neat. It was neat to watch the other homesteads at the auction because it's weird. Like around here, the auction's turned into kind of a party, kind of a social event.
Everybody goes and eats at the vendor.
Yeah. Well, we hang out and we laugh and we joke and we, talk about all of the wins that we had and that day, and it's kind of become lore, but we get 6 of them here a year. So 6 times a year, the homesteads kind of get together, a lot of them anyway, and just sit at the auction. And, there were so many good deals to be had. There were stacks and stacks and stacks of metal that sold for pennies, angle iron and tube and pipe and, these kind of things.
I'm surprised you didn't come back with any of that. That's usually right up your alley.
I've got a big pile of it, and I've got a community building to build, a barn to build, and pod 4 to finish this year. So I'm just, those are
we do have
stacks of metal
scraps.
Yeah. So I'm just kind of trying to watch my money because I've got big projects coming this year,
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. I'm hoping that we can hit an auction when we come up for the plumbing job on the building. Mike really enjoyed it. Oh, and Jen, I got to tell you something. It was so much fun watching him. He had a blast. And again, it turns into a social event. And, one of my favorite parts of the auctions are when one of the homesteads come back and go, tag, look what I just bought. I bought blah, 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 blah. This is what I'm going to do with it. Because it's never like I'm going to use it for its intended purpose. It's the inventiveness and the creativeness of a homesteader.
Right.
Who says, look, I'm going to buy this and I'm going to put these 2 together. And I'm going to do this. And this is going to work at this. And this is, it's such a great solution, and I love that part. It, really warms my heart. But anyways, that's where we got at the auction, right?
Yeah.
You want to go? You got something on your list you want to talk about? If not, I'm just going to keep on. We'll
no,
keep it
go
on.
ahead. Keep on.
That's all right. What else? I've included this picture for you guys. This is standing on the community building floor. That footing out there is going to hold some big pillars when it's all said and done. But this will be the view of the community building. If you look down in there, you'll see some logs laying there, the sawmills down there, and some piles of dirt. That'll all be removed as we're using it up. I'm using a lot of the dirt now as I'm using it for backfill, but that's why we put it there. It was excess that was out of the pond. And there's still, again, some sawmilling and things like that. But what a great view. You know, this is going to be what you're looking at is really where the community will be able to gather. That's sitting, again, right at the front of the community building.
Yeah, it looks nice.
Yeah. One Step Closer says the auctions was a blast. It is so much fun. One Step. Like I said, it's totally turned into a social event. We go to get good deals. And by the way, guys, prices at the auction are falling. I've noticed in the last 2 auctions that we've been to, there were much, much, much better deals to be had than some of them previously. I mean, like I said, I seen that skid steer was just an absolute steal.
Well, and that's the thing. We're only looking for specific items. So,
well, we're all at different places, right?
Yeah.
And that I seen someone buy a nice car for $4,000. Nice one. Lots of implements, and there were some deals that went high too. My buddy Jeff was looking at a particular kind of mower, and they brought too much money, and so didn't pull that one off, but pulled a whole bunch of other things off. And it's neat to see all the trailers get loaded and stacked full of, and primarily it's building materials. It's gates, it's fencing, it's primarily that's what you're getting. But I could have spent a ton of money. There was a semi truck. I don't know if I can quote this exactly right, but bought a semi load of hedge posts.
Wow.
Right. For like $160 for the whole semi load. I'd have taken them all. I wouldn't stand in that line, but I'd have paid that. I'd have paid that firewood. What would that have been? 10 cords of wood?
I don't know. That's
15
crazy.
cords of wood for $160.
That's crazy.
Yeah, tell me. I mean, that's some good stuff there. What else? So you guys know that it's been hot. I took this picture to share with you guys. This is Moo.
Yeah.
And so the cows, where our animals are kept, the paddock number 1, all the animals run together, and then we can open up pasture so they can go to other places. But this is actually the pond itself, and I caught Moo out there taking a bath, I guess.
Just waiting in the water.
Waiting in it. I think they do it
off.
to cool off, but I also think there's another big thing, and it's the flies aren't attacking the legs.
Oh, I know. The flies this year are horrible. I mean, I guess I haven't had cows all for long, but around their legs, their feet mainly. There's a lot.
Yeah, and I think them standing in the water gets them off their belly and gets them off their legs, right? Because if they walked out, if she walked out a little bit further, she'd be up to her neck. This pond isn't super deep. It's maybe 6 foot deep at its deepest. But I think I was thinking about the other day when I was watching them, I'm like, what a great way to get all the flies off of you.
Well, and she whips her tail around and it gets wet. And so she whips the water around with it.
Yeah. Well, she's the only black cow that we have. So
yeah, I'm sure she's hot.
Yeah. But
have you noticed the baby lays right in the sun?
Yeah. Yeah. I haven't been able to figure him out yet because he's not really like the other cows.
Yeah.
Have you noticed that?
Yeah.
Like he's a little bit weird.
He's not weird. He's gentle. He's kind. He's
scared of gravel.
That's because he had not seen it before. Come on now. He's just a little baby.
When we opened up paddock 2 for him, for the cows to get over there, he would not cross the gravel road.
He was afraid of the gravel.
Yeah. Everybody else would walk right across it, no problem.
Yeah.
But not him. Not him. All right. What else you got? I'm gonna get into some news headlines.
So I'm working on turkey rotations.
Yeah.
I had 8 this go round. I had 8 turkeys hatch. So I had the first 9, then I had 4, and now I have another 8. And I have 10 left in the incubator. That are due to come up. I just found 5 more in the yard. So it's like, start over, redo.
And so because you have so many different eggs in the same incubator that have all different dates, you just write the date on the egg, right?
I write what I perceive to be the hatch date and the lockdown date, because on the lockdown you have to increase the humidity. So 3 days before supposed hatch date. So if it's hatching in 3 days, today would be lockdown. I would get it off of the rocking mechanism, put it in the different incubator, and open the ventilation up and increase the humidity so that they can get out of their shell a little easier.
Yeah. Jen says Joe Salatin was on a video years ago and he talked about how they didn't like crossing the road. Yeah, none of ours minded except the baby. A little bit of Joe Salatin news, by the way. I've been in discussions with him about getting him down to Midwest Preparedness Project in the spring. And then,
wow,
which would be
a
cool.
big deal.
Yeah. I serve on the Earth Council with him, so I talk to him all the time, at least once a week. But so we've also been doing some thinking about maybe actually getting him down to the farm to teach a, couple day, land rotation class here on my property and make it very private. Make it where there's just, the community, the people that live around here, whatever it is, so that they can get some one-on-one time.
Yeah.
With him. And so I'm working on seeing if I can put that deal together. And then also on that news, Lindsey Graham and Brandon, Lindsey Graham, oh my goodness, Lindsey Brandon and Graham Townsend from the Food Forest Abundance place that we're working on a lot of the plans. I believe we're going to be back down here in September for the fall Midwest Preparedness Project.
Okay.
And I'm asking them to put together a plan for me for if I wanted to do a day or two permaculture class on my property prior to Midwest Preparedness Project. If I could pull that off. And again, just a smaller, intimate, 20, 30 people, whatever it is, to have some of that, food forest class and permaculture classes going on to see if I can, help grow the community. So I might have a couple of really cool classes coming up here, as far as inside the community goes.
That would be awesome.
Yeah. So we're working on both of those kind of as we go.
So would they both be you think they both be about the same time?
Yeah, I think they'd both be up there and they would.
September.
No, so Joe Salatin would be April. It'd be the spring camp out. Is the one I'm working on with him. Okay. Lindsey and Graham I'm working on for the fall camp out. And it really doesn't have anything to do with the camp out. It has to do with just getting them here a few days early.
Yeah.
To see if I can do something at the community level, right, to help make all of us a little bit better.
And they're going to talk at the festival.
I don't know whether they will or not. Probably.
Right. That's not your role.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't have a day-to-day role in the Midwest Preparedness Project. I don't decide the classes. I don't do any of that stuff. So, but we can share in the cost, right? Because they're already here. So that makes it less expensive on places like the Midwest Preparedness Project to have them.
I don't know. I don't know how it works.
Yeah, you're charged for travel, all the expenses, hotel rooms or whatever, mileage, rental cars, all of those things cost money,
Well, I mean, yeah, of course they cost money, I guess. And it makes sense that they would cover that. But I guess I just never thought about that.
Yeah. So glad they had my ATV gas tank surrounded by other spare parts for my ATV. Yeah, this was actually pretty cool too. Bo was at the auction with me, and there was a
UTV.
Well, ATV. An ATV, but it wasn't a running ATV. It was parts ATV, but it was the exact same model and everything he already had.
And he needed the parts that were on it.
His gas tank was leaking. Trying to buy a gas tank, a plastic one, was like $350. An OEM one was, I don't know, $600 or $700. But he bought the whole ATV there for like $100 or $150. And he can take it back, and now he has a complete parts ATV, which is super smart. Yeah, super, super smart. I enjoyed that a whole bunch.
Yeah, that's good thinking.
Yeah, Mo's my auction buddy. Mo comes to a lot of auctions. We do a lot of auctioning together. I'm hoping we're going to do the big Amish auction in July coming up here quickly. We can go up there and spend the day up there. Although it's hot, it's outside, it's so big, and there's so much to see. And I'd go up there just to see it.
Yeah.
Right. Even if you're not buying anything.
We didn't buy much last time when we were there.
I bought that big stainless steel tank for your kitchen queen.
That's right.
Right. I don't know what else we bought there, but
chains.
Oh yeah, you can't have enough chains.
And they were so heavy.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Like, what are you going to use that for? We can't even carry it.
Well, when we got the excavator stuck in the creek bed, it broke a chain
We
before we
broke one.
got a big enough one to get it out, right?
Yeah. The things you don't think about, like, hey,
Right.
there's different kinds of chains.
Right. What else you got? Farm related.
Those. So, last week I said that the bloody butcher cord, I got it from Pack Rat, and it didn't. I got it from Big Kid. So
Okay.
correction. Thank you, Big Kid. I got the bloody butcher cord in.
Mm-hmm.
So like last week before that, I guess it was probably. I have a rat in the greenhouse, so I have got some big snap rat traps for the greenhouse, and I think I have another mouse in the Jeep.
You definitely have a mouse in your Jeep. Tonight she went out with glue traps and laid them on her seats of her Jeep, thinking that she's got a mouse in there. And the reason why she thinks there's a mouse in there is there was a cup, not my cup, for the record. It was not a milk cup. There was a cup back there, and it had two little.
It had like lemonade in it or something.
Yeah, had two little mouse turds on it. So
and it had mouse poops on it, but I don't know how long that cup has been in there either. It wasn't like mine that I drank out of. So
yeah, I have no idea. I can't manage my own vehicle, let alone yours. You're supposed to go, ain't that the truth?
I know. We should take pictures of your vehicle and put them on here.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
And then we could be like,
take a picture of your greenhouse and put them on here.
My greenhouse is cleaner than your truck, buddy.
Not even close.
Yeah, and when Lindsay said to clean out my greenhouse, she was talking about plants. Take the tomatoes out and plant them in the yard. That's what she was talking about, cleaning it out. She wasn't talking about like, hey, sweep these leaves out of here.
You sure?
I'm positive. Yeah.
Isn't interpretation interesting? And isn't it funny that how truth really isn't all that relevant because everyone sees it differently?
We do. We all see it a different way.
Yeah, because I seen it as your greenhouse is a
that
wreck.
I'm dirty.
Not dirty.
Yeah,
clutter.
Clean your greenhouse, lady.
Clutter. Yeah, clutter. And
it's plants.
No, babe, it's dog food containers, bags,
that is not in there,
and black plastic everything, and
those are seed starting trays.
I know it's all greenhouse related stuff. You just got a ton of it.
Seed starting pots, and then you have to have soil, and you have to have the tools, and you have to have amendments, and you have to have seeds, and I mean, just.
Yep. So, B, since we've been talking about, because it's our anniversary and that, and I'm going to totally put you on the spot. You ready?
No.
Did you hear something?
Don't. Yeah, I thought I did.
I don't hear anything. So what's your role what's your responsibilities to keeping a marriage healthy?
Do I have responsibilities?
Yeah, you got a lot of them.
What's my responsibilities to keeping you happy?
No, to keeping the marriage happy, right?
Well, you're my marriage.
Yeah. Remember when we first met, you told me that there was 3 people in a relationship?
Yeah.
Who was it?
You, me.
And?
The mailman. No, you, me, and the relationship.
That's right. And so what is your duties to the relationship?
Yeah. My duties to the relationship are, there's a bee or something in you can't hear that? Buzzing?
Mm-mm. Jen says, I definitely don't want my Jeep pictures posted. Looks like the garden shed threw up in it. The bed is full. Yeah, my farm truck, I promise you, isn't much better. You go in the back, there's boxes of this and that and screws and cog and whatever, is in there from construction. But anyway, so what's your responsibilities?
To keep you happy.
Mm-hmm.
As you wish.
What's that mean?
What
does keeping me happy mean?
I do things to help you get along through your day that are little and mundane that you don't do very well.
Like what? What is it I don't do well?
Like picking up your cups.
So you're saying what your role is in the relationship is to pick up cups?
My role in the relationship is to be your partner, to be your better half, to comb your hair before you leave for work so that you don't get made fun of.
Okay. And she does do that.
Have your back. And
the back of my hair back here, I get these little cowlicks back here, and I can't see them.
Yeah.
So before I leave in any of my business endeavors, she's always following me around with a comb to make sure that it's laying down perfectly flat.
Yeah. I just take care of, little things for you. Help you to be better, help you to be successful, help you to feel appreciated and loved and respected, and to do those things, right? Not to make you feel respected, but to respect you.
Yeah, because words don't mean a lot. Actions mean everything, right?
Right. And to show that to everybody else too, not to poke fun of you or pick at you or you heard it.
I heard that.
Just be your partner. Together we are mighty.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think there's a lot of little things you do that I love, which is, B gets up every single morning, right?
I do. I get up every single morning,
and
guys.
What do you do? What's one of the first things you do?
I go to the bathroom.
No, besides that.
I make your coffee.
That's right.
Yep, I make your coffee. I don't drink coffee, so I can't tell you if it, tastes good. I have no idea. But I do. I make your coffee, whether it's in the rain out on the grill, or if it's to put the percolator on the wood stove, or to, sometimes I did at one point in time have an electric coffee pot that I could just, push a button and it would set, and you could just hey, wake up and there's coffee already on.
You don't use it anymore, though.
I don't use that. No, I like to be in control of the coffee. So yeah, I make you coffee. Yeah, I iron your clothes. I tend to them in case there's something wrong with them, right? There's a hole in this pocket, or this pant cuff came off, or whatever. Yeah, because you're rough on stuff.
It's so interesting to me that when I ask you what your role is, that the answers you give are like the things you provide, like coffee or ironing and, those kind of
things I do for you.
Yeah, like those kind of things. When to me, I see it so much different as more like, your role is to make sure that I'm leaving the house motivated.
Yeah, pat you on the back.
Yeah, your role is to
make you want to come home.
Make me want to come home. Right. That it's those things that matter so much. I don't know if you ladies out there know this or not, but I don't think very many husbands out there look at their work as this magical place. We look at it as a way we provide. Right. Yeah. I think generally speaking, that's true. We look at it.
The home is the magical place.
The home is the magical place. If you make it that way.
If it is the magical place.
Right. I know many a men who don't want to go home.
Right. And you've been there before.
Oh,
You've been in a situation where you didn't want to come home.
Yeah. Yeah. Nito says, I try to make sure hubby has coffee also. However, I'm allergic to it. Yeah. Mike makes my coffee too. He doesn't drink it either. The aromatherapy wafts through and I get up and feed him. Win-win. Love that. Yeah.
Feed me, Seymour.
Yeah. That's super good stuff. And all of those things are nice. And I love the coffee.
Yeah.
I do. And I love that you iron my clothes.
Yep.
And I love you comb my hair.
Yep. And pat you on the back.
But what I love more than anything is providing a home I want to come to.
Yeah.
I don't like being henpecked. I don't like being nagged. I don't like that stuff. Bee's very good at it. She knows just exactly how far to push me, right? And those kind of things. But thank you for giving me a home I want to come home to. Because that's a lot. I know, like I said, I know a lot of people in my life. And I can only speak from the husband's perspective, because I typically don't
listen to a bunch of wives.
I don't because I got to be, it's weird.
Yeah, and you don't get it. So you'd be like, suck it up. And you're like, and you're like, really?
Right.
Because you would think their problems are probably less than what they think their problem is.
Yeah.
Like, did you die? No.
Then what are you complaining about?
What are you complaining about?
Right.
Yeah.
Home is the refuge we work to provide for. Right. Well, I think it's important that we try to create a life we don't need a vacation from. And that part of this whole journey is exactly that, right?
Yeah.
I love that you don't want to take vacations. And I would totally go. If you wanted to travel, we would travel.
Yeah, our boys are like, why don't we travel more?
Mm-hmm.
Let's take family vacations. And I'm like, why don't you guys just come visit us?
Yeah. All American says
we'll buy a boat.
My wife is so awesome. I do not want to leave home. How wonderful is that? Yeah, but I think that's important, for you wives out there. If you were the one staying home, and husbands, if you're the one staying home,
Yeah.
make sure that the home they're coming back to is worth coming home to.
Well, yeah, and if your marriage is unhappy, nobody wants to hang out with you.
Oh yeah.
Everybody's like, ugh, let's not go there. Oh, don't invite them.
Yeah.
It was always a chaotic couple. We had a chaotic couple, and then, one would walk in and they'd be like, "Rah, rah, 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 rah," and the other one would walk in and be like, "Good morning, everybody." And we're like, what the hell just happened? God.
Yeah, I'm not gonna mention any names, but I have somebody in my life who's, I don't have no idea how they're still married. They've married a long, long time. They've got to be coming on 25 years, maybe. But man, they're always fighting at each other, and she makes fun of him in front of people, and like, man, your legs are ugly, or whatever it is, and I wouldn't put up with that for a second.
Well, yeah.
That's horrible.
Yeah. I don't know why you would talk down to your spouse in front of people, but people do it.
Yeah.
And spouses are okay with it. So
well, but don't make fun of your spouse for things they cannot control in front of people. Make fun of them about things they can control. Those are usually a lot safer.
Yeah. Well, I think that if that's the relationship that they have and they do that to each other and they're okay with it, then that's on them. It's just like awkward.
Yeah. I wouldn't want to part of any of that. Did they
just say that? Oh my gosh. Like, you're just like, okay, turn, walk away. We're going this way.
Yeah.
Hey!
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I've got a whole bunch of headlines.
Oh, you guys, no.
I don't know. I'm never going to get through them all because we've already been here an hour and 31 minutes. We could save them or we could just kind of run through them. You want to run through a few at least?
Yeah, you can run off.
Tell me what you think about them. So this was interesting. I'm sure many of you had already heard this, but apparently there was a leak prior to announcing that Trump was guilty. One of the jurors leaked the verdict. Did you hear this, B? So one of the jurors told their cousin that Trump was going to be guilty, and then they posted it on Facebook prior to the actual verdict being read.
Okay. Which
are grounds for a mistrial.
Oh.
Okay. I'm curious as to why they didn't just make the comments disappear like Dems typically do. To me, this isn't adding up considering how corrupt the judge and the DA and the jurors are. Are they backpedaling now because they realize they messed up real bad? Trump's support has skyrocketed since the verdict. I think what's so fascinating about this is that and as you guys know, I don't like the Dems or the Republicans. And I've been very vocal about this. I'm not a Trump's really fan or a Biden fan, although I'd rather have Trump 100 times out of 100. I think it's interesting how they're making him a martyr. Babe, he's more popular now than he was before the verdict.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's what we're being told.
Yeah, babe, I see it everywhere I go. There's t-shirts out there that say sentence Trump to 4 more years in the Oval Office.
I did see that.
Right. I mean, you're seeing hats out there saying I'm voting for the felon.
I did see that one too.
Right. I mean, so it's kind of like, they're making him a martyr, which I find either fascinating because why do they want to make him a martyr, or are they just dumb enough they didn't think that that would happen?
Probably did. Why would they think that that would happen? Why do you think that that's happened?
I could, if I was in that position, I promise you I would have had a conversation about, are we just going to make him stronger by doing this? I mean, I don't think that's that hard, to come up with. Anyway, other interesting news, the FDA was involved in the development of the COVID-19 and offensive biological warfare weapon at the University of North Carolina BSL-3 lab, the Pentagon bought and paid for. And the reason why I brought this up is if we go through this, and I actually blew this up, there was an affidavit by one of the professors. Here, let me skip. Is it one more? No, hold on. Where's that? Oh, that was right there. Okay, so then this is actually an affidavit by one of the professors that I managed to drag up, but it said pursuant to 28 USC 1746, I, Francis A. Boyle, declare under penalty of perjury that the statements contained herein are true and correct to the best of my knowledge. I am Francis A. Boyle, a professor of international law at the University of Illinois College of Law. I received my AB in 1971 in political science from the University of Chicago, then a doctorate degree magna cum laude from the Harvard Law School, and AM and PhD degrees in political science from Harvard University. I have advised numerous international bodies in the areas of human rights, criminal war crimes, and genocide, nuclear policy, and biowarfare. In 1985, I publicly called for and then drafted the U.S. domestic implementing legislation for the Biological Weapons Convention, known as the Biological Weapons Anti-Terrorism Act of 1989. That was approved unanimously by both houses of the U.S. Congress and signed into law by President George H.W. Bush with the approval of the United States Department of Justice. See my book, Biowarfare, Terrorism, in 2005. It is my expert opinion that COVID-19 nanoparticle injections, or mRNA nanoparticle injections, or COVID-19 injections meet the criteria of a biological weapon and weapons of mass destruction according to the Biological Weapons 18 USC 175 Weapons and Firearms Stat of 2023. I hereby certify that the statistically edited transcript of the interview that I had with Sean Peters is a fair and accurate statement of my professional opinion on the matters set forth herein. Please see attached. Signed, Professor of Law, blah, blah, blah. The reason why I brought this up, I think it's just so interesting about this, is with the COVID thing, is more and more information is coming out. And, you know, it's so funny to me how they would never do anything sinister with COVID, right?
Right.
Right. Where are we at here?
No, it's totally legit.
Yeah. We as an American people need to perceive that our justice system is fair. I don't know anybody that does. A mistrial will have to be retried. I think they want to keep him from campaigning. Oh, see, this is a really good point, Tulip Little Angel. Is that maybe that the leak with Facebook was in an effort to keep him tied up into court, to go back through it again to keep him from campaigning. I predict the H1N1 will be the next pandemic. Actually, a lot of people are saying that. A lot. Study allegedly connects excess deaths with vaccines during COVID-19, and here are the facts. On June 3rd, 2024, the medical journal BMJ Public Health published a paper from 4 researchers in the Netherlands called Excess Mortality Rates Across Countries in the Western World Since the COVID-19 Pandemic. The study was picked up by political conservative media outlets such as One American News, New York Post, and Telegram. From there, the story spread to social media sites like X, where it was shared by the anti-vaccine crowd. But what's funny is there's a whole bunch of the powers that be are saying, this is a stupid, don't pay attention to this. But this is a whole bunch of researchers. You know, as I mentioned, it's continued to come out. But they wouldn't do anything bad, as I mentioned before, right? Except the USA Today yesterday reported that the Pentagon ran secret anti-vaccine campaigns to undermine China during the pandemic. This is super fascinating. I'm going to get rid of you and me so I can read the whole thing. There we go. This is from Reuters. At the height of the COVID-19 pandemic, the U.S. military launched a secret campaign to counter what is perceived as China's growing influence in the Philippines, a nation hit especially hard by the deadly virus. The clandestine operation has not been previously reported. It aimed to sow doubt about the safety and efficiency of vaccines and other life-saving aid that was being supplied by China, a Reuters investigation found. Through phony internet accounts meant to impersonate Filipinos, the military propaganda efforts morphed into an anti-vax campaign. Social media posts decried the quality of the face masks, test kits, and the first vaccine that would become available in the Philippines. So what's interesting to me is that the Pentagon got busted trying to turn the Filipino people into an anti-vaxxer because they were going to be taking the Chinese vaccine instead of Pfizer's or one of the other ones, right?
Good grief.
I know, right? This is so crazy how they'll play whatever side they want for money, right? I mean, they want to, they tell us to take it, but tell them not to take it.
Right.
Right? Does that mean they care about us and don't care about them?
No.
Do they care about them and not care about us? No.
It was the bottom dollar.
It was just the bottom dollar, right? It was just 100% about money. But again, this was a USA Today article that just came out. I thought you guys would like that one. Biden reminded us, slurring once again, and he said this before, but if they want to think to take on the government, if we get out of line, guess what? They need F-15s. They don't need a rifle. And he's referring to, the people that are upset. And when I found what happened to my picture? That picture should have been a little bit lower. He went on to quote, he was going to quote Thomas Jefferson, but guys, this is what he said. How much have you heard this phrase? The blood of liberty washes those, give me a break. The actual quote, so you know, from Thomas Jefferson is, "The tree of liberty must be refreshed from time to time with the blood of patriots and tyrants." Right. But our fearless leader said, "How much have you heard the phrase, the blood of liberty washes those, give me a break?" Crazy.
I haven't heard him say that, but I don't watch him talk. So
Todd says
Okay.
the jury leak was on the court website, not Facebook. Okay. I thought they said they leaked it to Facebook, but anyway, other interesting things that are going on. You guys probably heard that the Supreme Court ruled on the ban on bump fire stocks as unlawful. So apparently you can now own a bump fire stock again. When when the Supreme Court was critiqued on this, Samuel Alito, the Supreme Court justice, told Congress, "Well, then change the gun law, because based upon the laws that are currently there, there's no reason that you can't outlaw these." But keep in mind, you guys, the bump fire stock was not a Biden thing. The bump fire stock was a Trump
thing.
That's right.
Yeah, that was because the guy shot up the Las Vegas music festival or something.
Yeah. I don't know if any of you ever shot a bump fire stock. I've shot them, and it doesn't make it a full auto machine gun. It doesn't work like that.
They said that he manipulated it somehow to make it do that.
Yeah. Well, but the thing is you can manipulate any gun you want to make it that one, But
I didn't know that.
Come on, man. You know the thing. He says some doozies, don't he?
Yeah.
All right, guys, I'm going to hustle because we chit-chatted way too long. Did you guys see the video? I posted the picture. This was him at the World War II. I told you last week. What he was really doing, I think, is looking for a seat.
Okay.
Right? But anyway, the articles are, did Joe Biden poop himself? What really happened? Right? Explains body language expert. He was looking for a seat. He was just confused. But a 78, I wanted to point out this. I found this meme, and I just thought it was so right. A 78-year-old man ran for the White House from his basement, picked his least popular former opponent as his running mate, received the most votes of any presidential candidate at 4 a.m., and then needed 20,000 troops to protect his mostly empty inauguration ceremony, but nobody can question any of it. If you guys think that we're headed into a fair election, I can't help you, man. Right? Because there's no way all of that could be true.
Well, he can't even find his chair.
Right. And he can't even find his chair. Right. He is completely wrong, because Afghanis, all they had was AKs and sandals and a couple of RPGs. Yeah. Let me see here. He reminds me of the reporter trying to talk to Bruce Almighty. Oh, he does. Oh, that's funny. What else? So if you guys know, I've been talking a long, long time about Biden, that they're going to turn on Biden, and Biden is not going to be the candidate. And I believe that to this day. But what I found interesting, and if you look, the date's right there, June 13th, I started polling any recent articles that talk about Biden not being the candidate. If Biden steps down, who comes next for the Democrats, reports one source. According to the New York Times columnist Brett Stevens, and this is a whole different one, right? Writing Thursday, Joe Biden has one option if he wants to secure a courageous, honorable, and transformative legacy from his time as president. He should choose not to run for president. But I'm not done. New York Times said Biden is not up for this, that the party should help him find his way to that, to being the thing he said he would be in 2020, the bridge to the next generation of Democrats. They also said, according to, which one's this one? JP Morgan. So the chief strategist from JP Morgan says Joe Biden will drop out of 2024 presidential race. President Joe Biden will eventually decide to stand down and not seek re-election this year. A top JP Morgan Chase strategist predicted over the weekend. His name was Michael, who heads the market and investment strategy unit in the bank's asset management division, and believes that the 81-year-old Biden will drop out of the race sometime between Super Tuesday and the November election, citing health concerns. What I find interesting about, there's so much interesting in all this. If he drops out, when would he do it? Well, they've got a bunch of debates coming up with Trump.
Yeah.
Right? Would he do it prior to the debate? Would he drop out of the election?
When do they start that? September?
What?
Debates?
No, I actually think there's one in June. I think there's one coming up here pretty quick. See, gruesome will be eligible for the next one. His term is up January 25. Yes. So he'll stay president no matter what happens. Is the first debate in July, Jen? I thought maybe June. But anyway, it's coming up. So crazy. Biden's mental decline jeopardizes national security. Right? Democrats have one card left to play. Joe Rogan says he'll be out by May. This is how Biden will pull out of the 2024 race, says Forbes. Forbes magazine. Steve Forbes says Biden will not be the Democratic nominee. They cannot have him running. So you see how they're totally starting to turn?
Yeah.
And I think they totally will, but this is the real reason why, in my opinion. I don't know if you guys are paying attention to what's going on in Europe, but they just had a whole slew of elections, right? And what's interesting about it is, I don't know how much you guys know about the European Union, but it's a whole bunch of different factions make up the European Union. It's, several different parties from Germany and several different parties from France and, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But basically, they can all be kind of broken down into 7 basic categories. And so if you look at the parties, the center right, the center left, the center liberal, the right wing, the far right, the center left, and the far left.
Good grief.
Okay, that's really what they all break down into. So the far left lost 2 seats. The center left lost 18 seats. The center liberal lost 19 seats. And the other central left party lost 4 seats. Okay, the far right won 9 seats. The right wing won 3 seats. And the center right won 13 seats. So all of the right wing parties gained in power in the European Union, and all of the left or liberal lost power in the European Union. France's National Rally wins a historic 31.5% of the EU vote, forcing Macron to dissolve the national parliament. Germany's AfD surges to become the second largest party, Liberal Party's tank. Belgian Prime Minister resigns after his crushing defeat against the right. Maloney's brother of Italy wins in a historic landslide. Austria, FPO doubles their seats and becomes the largest party in the nation. Spain, right beating the left by 10%. Luxembourg, first ever seat for the ADR. This is the problem, right? Is that as they did with Trump and making him a martyr, a lot of these super liberal policies, and specifically into immigration and, taxes and, war at Ukraine and all of this are becoming more and more unpopular. And these positions are creating the martyrs. And I think this is a great testament to that. Oh, that's a first. Jen says you were right. He said June 27th. I thought it was June. Anyway, I don't know if you guys like this kind of stuff, but to me, this is way cool. Another interesting thing happened. Interest rates. What is the Fed thinking? So the Fed kept the interest rates the same. Okay. They went on to say that inflation has come down, but the Federal Reserve has left interest rates at the high levels. That has led many to wonder, what are they thinking? For people in real estate and others who are highly impacted by interest rates, the question is often punctuated with puzzlement or profanity. The Fed's policymaking committee members continue to emphasize a few points: their goals, the importance for low and steady inflation, the long time lags in monetary policy, and the uncertain surroundings of the economic forecast. Putting these elements together help to understand where interest rates will go in the coming years. What I find so interesting about this particular article is the very first sentence: inflation has come down. Well, but it's so interesting that it came down that the House passed the same day an $895 billion defense policy to give a 19.5% pay raise to junior troops. 19.5.
That's a lot.
Have you ever gotten a 20% raise one day?
No.
That's a big raise, right? So,
well, 895 billion.
So the Biden administration opposes this raise, by the way. They've come out and said it publicly. But I think they're just saying it because it sounds good.
Yeah.
I would argue they're doing this to attract more troops, to help recruiting. That's what I would argue it is. But if inflation was going down, why would you need the raises?
Because inflation is not going down.
Right.
Because there is nothing that's cheaper at the grocery store today.
Nothing. Absolutely nothing.
Or the gas pump.
So I don't know if you guys know this or not, but we froze a bunch of Russian assets. America did. And so Putin pledges retaliation after G7 deal on frozen Russian assets. G7 is then going to use those Russian assets. So, okay, so we froze a bunch of Russian assets. Then we're going to use those assets. It was $50 billion. We're going to give it to Ukraine as a loan. So we're going to steal Russians' money, and then we're going to loan it out to the Ukrainians, who can then pay back the politicians someday, making them rich. Right? And here's what's really interesting about this. NATO to finalize agreement giving alliance greater control over military aid to Ukraine. So what this really says is we stole a bunch of money from Russia. We're going to give it to the Ukraine, but we're going to funnel it through NATO.
And they're going to use it as they want.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And what's so cool about this, you guys, if you guys look at the dates of this, these are all articles on the exact same day. Yeah, right. That great point. Meanwhile, in Florida, we are surrounded by Russians with battleships and nuclear subs. Yep. Didn't they do something about raising the draft age for men to 26 and having women register for the draft? They talked about it, Midwest Rabbi, but I have not seen anything to get very far. But guys, you know, they talk about follow the money. If you really want to know what's going on, I mean, this is mainstream media stuff. And we stole $50 billion or seized, right? $50 billion from Russia. We then are going to give that give that Russian money back to Ukraine in the form of a loan, to which then will funnel through NATO. And 10% for the big guy. Yep. RN says 19.5% raise could be because they need all those junior recruits to re-enlist. I would agree with that 100%. Yep. Sloppy Joe agreed to 10-year funding for the Ukraine. Well, he said he would. Again, I don't think that's all the way passed, but you know, I don't know if you guys remember, but when he was talking with Zelensky this last week on stage, he said what a shame it was that they had to wait on legislation to be able to fund the Ukraine. What a profound statement, right? I mean, what an absolute profound statement, because what that's really saying is hell with the constitutional process.
Yeah.
The law, the Constitution says this. It takes a congressional approval. This is what keeps us out of wars.
Yeah.
And he got on a national stage with Zelensky and said, if it wasn't for those Republicans, what a shame it is that we had to wait on congressional approval to send another, $100 billion to the Ukraine, which isn't even talking about what's on the screen, right? Completely ridiculous. Completely ridiculous. Here's a good one. You want to talk about what's amazing, how smart this administration is? So Saudi Arabia's 50-year-old petrodollar agreement with the United States has expired. I don't know if you guys know this or not, but this is the agreement to sell in the dollar, right? There's no new agreement in place. Saudi Arabia will now sell oil in multiple currencies, including the Chinese yen, euros, yuan, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Right? Saudi Arabia chooses the Chinese yuan over the US dollar. And you know what we did about it?
Nothing.
Oh, no, we did way more than nothing. We reached a nuclear deal to give them nuclear weapons.
Oh.
So we're going to give Saudi Arabia nuclear missiles, even though they are turning their back on the United States. Tell me how this does not work. Tell me how this works. How about don't tax the frickin' people who do not support this crap? I would love that. Good luck with that, though. They're actually, Jen, going to tax you into oblivion. They'll eventually own it all, because that's what they mean by you'll own nothing and you'll be happy. They'll tax it all away. There won't be anything left. And then they'll just rent it back to you. But they also updated the draft from 24 years old to 26 years old. I do not believe we are going to actually think we are already or at war. I think we've been at war for a while, just not the traditional, high intensity conflict war that you would see in World War II. It's way more of a, that fifth generation stuff. But anyway, I cannot believe that Saudi Arabia's 50-year-old agreement expired. They did not renew it. They started doing business with China and Russia and all of those kinds of things. And our answer was, let's sell them some nuclear missiles.
Yeah,
tell me how that makes any sense.
Make sense.
All the while, and this is not conspiracy theory, this is going on right now today, China is building a megaport in Peru. I don't know if you guys have seen this yet. I was not aware, but apparently it's been going on a while because it's expected to become operational in the first quarter of 2025, right? This puts them within striking distance, right? Chinese investors who have poured millions of dollars into the Chancay mega port off the coast of Peru, along with the Pacific Basin, in which hopefully in the near future will have land connections to Latin America's largest economy. Costco Shipping Ports, Chancay, Peru, has announced the inauguration for next November. And Alonso, blah, 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 commercial manager, confirmed that despite ongoing legal disputes with the Peruvian government regarding the port's concession contract, this has been built. This is already built. Remember the Cuban Missile Crisis?
Yeah.
Right? There are many of us alive, many people alive who would probably remember that. But, 2.0, right? And then you got the Russian subs and all that stuff off of Florida. I mean, I don't know how long Joe Biden thinks he can just dictate to the world that everything's going to happen without somebody doing something about it. But I did not know China was building this port. Let's see here. Bankruptcy filings rose 16% during the 12-month period ending March 31, 2024. I saved some of these graphs because I think there's some interesting things going on in them, and I hope you guys don't mind. I want to kind of go through them with them. So in 2024, there was 20,000 business filings. That's up from 14,000 in 2023, but still less than the number of filings in 2020. And if you remember, 2020 was COVID, lockdowns, right? So we're seeing business bankruptcies similar to that of the COVID lockdown right now.
Oh, shit.
Okay. If you continue on, non-business filings was 447,458 filings. Okay, which would be more than 2023, more than 2022, and about the same of 2021 coming out of the lockdowns. So again, we're experiencing similar bankruptcies to that of the COVID lockdowns. Okay, RN, good night. Let's see here. Life's Micah Jensen. We just finished William Fortune's 5 years after. I have not read it yet. It was quite interesting. A nod to the COOF we went through, and then a secret group taking over after an EMP. Interesting. I have not seen it yet. Let's look at some more data because I find this interesting too. So if you guys look at the exact same bankruptcies we just looked at, but let's look at them in regards to type of filing, right? So you have a Chapter 7 and a Chapter 13, which would be for, the civilians, and an 11 and 12, which are business filings. So, but it's important that for those of you guys who don't know what the difference is between a Chapter 7 and a Chapter 13, because those are the ones I really want to focus on in this slide. So a Chapter 7 is a full liquidation. Okay, you're liquidating.
So you don't have a house anymore. You don't have a car.
Correct. It's a full liquidation. 13 means that you will pay some of the debts back, but you get to keep your primary car and your primary house. Okay, so a full liquidation in 2024, there was 271,000, right, which is up from 2023. Not a lot, but up from 2022.
That's individual bankruptcies.
That's individual bankruptcies.
Holy
right.
cow.
2021, it's down from, and 2020, it's down from. But Chapter 13, this is what I find so fascinating, is so you had 187,000 of Chapter 13, which was up from 166,000 in 2023, which was up from 125,000 in 2022, which was up from 119,000 in 2021, but not yet that of COVID. So why would there be so much more growth in a Chapter 13 than a Chapter 7? You have any idea? Because they can't go buy houses today.
So
interest rates are up, housing prices are crazy. The 13 allows them to keep their house. And so I would argue more people are choosing this because they're not going to have any other options. Rent is at an all-time sky-high rate, right? You see, seems right. There were a lot of companies just barely pulling in enough cash to cover their debt loans before the interest rates went up. Yep. I think we're going to see more and more in this. I'm going to track this for you guys and keep an eye on these kind of things. Because again, this is just through March 31, because the data comes out slow. But I really think this is going to be interesting to watch. But I mean, if you've looked at the Chapter 13 filings since 2021, which was the year we came out of or started to come out of COVID, right after the lockdowns, Chapter 13 bankruptcies have rose significantly every single year. Right now, they haven't reached the 2020 ones yet, but I certainly think it will. U.S. corporate bankruptcy filings in 2023 hit a 13-year peak. So if you look at that orange graph all the way at the end, those are your corporate bankruptcies. So they're not as high as it was in 2010, which those would have been your bankruptcies coming out of the financial bubble of 08, 09, and 10, right?
Yeah.
So it's not that high, but
600.
yeah, but if you look at COVID's right. COVID is the fourth one from the end, 2020. Those are your corporate bankruptcies due to COVID, right?
Yeah.
And then look at the orange one on the end. So it's already surpassed those, right? Good night, Karen. I'm going to try to blow through these guys. Here we go. Here's your adjustable rate loans, which I find interesting. These are adjustable rate mortgage loans. And so if you look as time went on, right, the adjustable rates went down, 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 down because interest rates were going down. You had more fixed loans.
And then,
yeah. So not only are we at an all-time high bankruptcy, but you also are dealing with a lot of them are adjustable rate loans, which I would argue to be a mess. What do you think?
Yeah, it's like 14% there.
Yeah. Yeah. Which means their payments are going to go up and
Which
go up and go up and go up.
2021, yeah.
Yep. Huh. This one was so fascinating to me. I couldn't get it to size right, but basically what this graph is saying is home price versus income growth by decade. If you guys look at the first graph, so the light blue is the rising, the percentage of rising house costs. So this is the oil embargoes of the late 70s. Okay. This is the inflationary period, I'm sorry, of the 70s. So if you look, the housing prices went way up, but the income went up faster.
Yeah.
Right. And this is what separates those times versus these times. If you look at the last graph, look at the light blue bar, that's prices going up. Look what the income's done.
Yeah.
So we have rising house prices and falling incomes. That's a good mix, huh?
Disaster. Yeah.
Yep. And I thought you guys should know too that we're beginning to see big movement in the fall of house prices. Now, I would argue finally because they're completely overpriced. But what I found interesting is the biggest losers are in California, Texas, and Florida, or where housing prices are falling the most, at least according to the ICE Home Price Index, which is where this information was pulled from. Still got some rising prices in some places, where I live, it's up a little bit. There's some big ones up. Pennsylvania's up a bunch, some of the eastern coast, but it looks like we're starting to see some big prices coming down. And then finally, I wanted to share this with you guys too, is, I don't know if you know this, but interest on our debt as a country for the first time in history surpassed national defense and spending. So if you look, the Social Security is always our biggest spender. We're spending about $1.45 trillion a year in our national budget, maintaining Social Security. Second forever was always defense, which they're spending $852 billion. But
Trillion.
Interest, well, it says T, but it's B, I promise you. It's not 852 trillion, it's billion. But for the first time ever, we're now spending $1.14 trillion a year just maintaining the interest on the credit card debt.
Ooh.
Because that's what it is, babe. This is the interest of our credit card debt as a country. Very soon, it will surpass Social Security, and it will be our number one thing we're spending money on. Interest. And don't forget the last two presidents, Biden and Trump, spent more money than any of the rest of them. Right? They were the biggest culprits. Let me see here. Saudi Arabia just did taking the American dollar away from the petrol exchange is going to absolutely devastate our economy. Well, but the problem with our economy's got nowhere else left to go. I mean, you're already spending, you think about $1.14 trillion annually just maintaining the interest on our debt. Not the principal, the interest.
Yeah.
It absolutely will never work.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
You can't run your household like that. You
can't
have a credit card and run your life like that.
No. And I mean, that's like, someone having $30,000 in income and having $100,000 in credit card debt. You'll never get out from underneath it, right? I mean, you're just never going to do it.
Yeah.
But anyway, all right, babe, it's been 2 hours. What do you want to talk about before we get out of here? What else you got on your list? I'm very proud I blew through 33 slides that quick.
I know. You're skipping through them.
I was.
To work hard for your favorite hobby.
Yeah.
right? Put your
make your spouse your favorite hobby.
yeah.
Because someone's favorite hobby could be, brewing beer.
Woodworking. Right.
Right.
No, yeah. If you're going to do this, if you're going to make the commitment in the first place, you own it. Follow through.
Yeah, I think saying it about, making it the, taking time to
do the small stuff.
No, taking time to make it your favorite hobby, I think is a big deal. Right? That you are my favorite hobby, babe.
Because you choose that.
That's why I say love is the easiest of all things.
Yeah.
It's not that it's effortless, because that's by not.
No.
You're a handful.
I have been once.
Yeah. It's not that. It's that making you happy is easy for me because I love you, right?
Yeah.
And so make it your favorite hobby, and be intentional about it. It's no different than we talk about living free takes intentional, right? Being intentional, right? There you go. Look at that.
She's a smart
Jen's
lady.
such a badass. Yep. You have to be intentional in your relationship, and it has to be part of your building the community process, right? The only way a community works, guys, is it starts with the clan level. And if your clan ain't square, you can't be as successful in the community.
Yeah.
I promise you this is true.
Any community.
It starts at the clan level. And so focus on that. And again, make it your favorite hobby. I think that's really, can't think that I'd say it any better than that, Hey,
Yeah,
Mary Michelle, hello.
And maybe if you're like, I'm, it's always them. I pick the wrong ones, and, they're always the problem. And I find, men are horrible and whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever your reason is, maybe you should look within yourself. Maybe
Yeah.
you need to change a couple things about yourself.
Yep. And if you can listen to your boss, but you can't listen to your spouse.
Yeah.
There's definitely an issue there.
Make sure you are lovable.
Yep. I like that. Make sure you're lovable. All right, guys. Well, I think on that, it's been 2 hours and 6 minutes. We're going to get our butts out of here. Try to get on to the next day, right? Tomorrow's Father's Day.
Father's Day. Happy Father's Day. Happy Father's Day.
Thank you very much. And I don't know what it will hold for us other than we'll be working. I can assure you of that. Right? Anything else? Hold on.
Hold the line. Don't give an inch.
Yeah, be in tag out.
Yeah.
Good night, everybody.